What's going on, guys? This is Steve from Steamable Tech, and in today's video I'm going to give you guys my final take on the Verizon LTE Only challenge. Now, when I decided to do this 30-day Verizon LTE Only No Wi-Fi challenge, my goal was just to go ahead and test Verizon's LTE network as a standalone solution for wireless connectivity. My goal was to stay away from Wi-Fi completely and just utilize Verizon's LTE for all of my bandwidth and connectivity needs. For those of you that weren't able to see my first initial video for this, I am operating on the Verizon Wireless Unlimited plan. It was debuted in February of 2017 when Verizon first brought back their unlimited data plans. Utilizing Verizon Wireless for all of my data needs, I was just going to go ahead and use Verizon LTE Only for a full billing cycle. In this case, my usage was all going to be towards downloading, uploading, streaming of music, streaming of video, watching TV, file transfer. Pretty much everything had to be done through Verizon Wireless LTE. My mission and goal, and my rationale for actually doing this particular LTE Only challenge, was pretty simple. I wanted to put myself in a position, the same position that a lot of different viewers and subscribers here on the channel are placed in, lacking home Wi-Fi and home internet options and simply relying on their LTE for all of their connection needs. After all, there are very high percentage of people in rural America, as well as those on fixed income, or those that just don't want to pay the very expensive price tag for a lot of home internet options, and because of that, they go LTE only. So without further ado, here is what I learned from the Verizon LTE Only challenge. So you guys know what plan I was using, and just so you know, I was utilizing the Google Pixel 2 XL for all of my connection. My SIM card was in that phone. That has been my main phone for about 2 years since it was released. So the first thing I want to say is Verizon's LTE network here in the Cleveland area has been excellent. Data speeds were always fast. I always saw it in LTE. I actually don't remember seeing any 3G or 2G or any type of older technology in terms of the connection to the device. Now, in terms of my feature set for my plan, I am set at 720p resolution for video, as well as a 22 gigabyte of data usage for the deprioritization soft cap. So after that threshold, anytime the network is congested within the tower that I'm on, I would get slowed down. At least I would be subject to slowdowns. Now, I did hit the 22 gigabyte soft cap at about day 7 of usage, so once I hit that, I knew that I was always going to face the likelihood that I was going to be deprioritized at some point, but that actually didn't happen very often. Now, the first slowdown that I actually witnessed in terms of deprioritization was around day 8, I believe, and was already after I had reached that 22 gig soft cap for deprioritization, and when it happened, it was during a peak time. In terms of usage, it was really, really slow. I was basically unable to do anything. I was trying to download a YouTube video so I could watch it, and I wasn't able to do so. The network was pretty much crawling. But what's interesting about that is it didn't seem like it was a true deprioritization situation. My phone actually seemed to kind of be lagging and having issues. So what I did was I actually turned my phone off, restarted it, and then tested the speeds, and it was pretty much back to normal. So I'm not sure if I could say definitively exactly if it was deprioritization, but I'm going to go ahead and say that it was, just for the sake of the purpose of this particular video and my usage. Now, the second slowdown that I witnessed had to have been a true slowdown. It was around day 21 or 22, and I was trying to watch a YouTube video, and I was unable to do so at anything above like a 360 or a 480p video resolution. So I could pretty much confirm that that was the case. The video was buffering, because at 720p it wouldn't play, but at 480p it would. So I knew I was being slowed down, and actually I double checked. I went to the speed test, I ran a network test, and it was being throttled down to about 2 to 3 megabits per second, which is about 10 times slower than what I normally see. Now, today is the final day of my billing cycle, and I actually have used about 150 gigs of data this month. So that pretty much completes my trial, and that's why I'm doing the video today. Now, here are my main takeaways from my experience doing the LTE Only challenge. When it comes to the Verizon network, at least in the Cleveland area, data speeds are truly excellent. It's very, very reliable connectivity, and it's very, very fast data. The second thing I learned about Verizon's LTE network, at least in the Cleveland area where I was doing most of my testing, is that any type of slowdown is very momentary. It really doesn't persist. The network is very, very strong. It is extremely reliable, and the speeds were generally excellent. I only had a couple of slowdowns, and one of them actually would be considered to be questionable. So I can confidently say that it is one of the best performing networks in terms of performance here in the Cleveland area. Now what I want to do for you guys is give you some technical information. So for some of you, maybe you don't really understand what I'm about to say, but I think for a lot of you, it actually may make a lot of sense. One of the things that I noticed, and it was pretty evident, was the focus on band 66 connectivity, which is something I didn't really see much of last year. And this year, about 90% of the time I was connected to the Verizon LTE network, it was in band 66, when in the past, it was mostly in band 13. So for the first thing, I haven't really tested the Verizon network specifically in terms of like monitoring the network and looking at band performance and different types of connectivity. So it had been about 8 to 10 months since the last time I really did a deep, thorough investigation on the connectivity. For those of you that aren't familiar with band 66, or maybe you are, band 66 is an expansion and a subset of band 4. Now band 66 is an AWS band specifically designed to reduce or eliminate interference on the network. Verizon specifically utilizes it for capacity and speed and to help reduce some of the congestion that occurs on other bands such as band 13, for example. So this makes a lot of sense that ever since the Verizon Unlimited plan had kicked in for a lot of users and band 13 was beginning to congest, band 66 utilization in certain markets was supposed to alleviate some of that pressure. This would probably explain why whenever I was connected to band 66, I saw excellent speeds. Typically on average, I saw download speeds between 80 and 120 megabits per second, topping out at about 190 megabits per second and bottoming out probably somewhere around 15 to 20 megabits per second, but on average hitting about 80 or 90 megabits per second. So while I never saw band 4 in terms of directly on any of my speed testing and network monitoring, I did see band 66 frequently, and occasionally I saw band 13. I didn't see any band 2, and that's probably because I wasn't in more rural or expanded areas. For those of you that are familiar with band 66, you probably understand that most carriers utilize it, with the exception being Sprint. So Verizon uses it, T-Mobile uses it, as well as AT&T, and pretty much utilized for the same purposes, for the capacity and for the speed. So long story longer, here's how I can kind of summarize my experience with the Verizon LTE network after using so many different applications and utilizing all of that data usage. Verizon has a very capable 4G LTE network, one of the best that I can find for the money. Not that this is a type of promotion, obviously Verizon is not paying me, but I have tried AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon in my area. I could say that I'm completely satisfied with my usage on the Verizon LTE network, even after extreme usage and utilizing all of the data over the data threshold. So the question is would I recommend going over that threshold and utilizing your device as an LTE only device, never connecting to Wi-Fi for any purpose? That kind of depends, actually. I think the question is your LTE connectivity better than what you have in terms of Wi-Fi? Now in my case, at work, my Wi-Fi is fantastic. Average download speeds over 100 megabits per second and upload speeds around 80 to 90 megabits per second. So what would I prefer to use? In this case, I would rather go with the Wi-Fi. But at home, my provisions aren't as strong. So when I'm home, using LTE actually works out better for me because my cable provider doesn't give me the type of upload speeds that are required to upload videos. So my LTE is actually better than my home Wi-Fi for upload. So in that case, I go LTE. So how do we cap this off? What should we really take away from this 30-day LTE only challenge? Can Verizon's network withstand all of this usage? I know I'm just one user, but if everybody was to do it, does Verizon really have what it takes to allow people to go LTE only? I think the answer is yes. The network can handle this type of strain, at least from a network management standpoint. So you guys let me know in the comment section below if you think my usage reflects a lot of the usage that others are probably experiencing. I'm not sure if it is, but maybe you have Verizon and some of you do, or if you kind of disagree with what I'm seeing. Those were my experiences, so I try to keep it honest and objective here on the channel, but you guys can let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Go ahead and drop me a line. So that wraps up the Verizon LTE only challenge. I think for the most part, I'll be going back to Wi-Fi whenever I'm at work because the connection is so fast and so effective. But when I'm home, I am going to fall back on LTE, and that's just my usage. So that's it for this video. Thank you all for tuning in. If you liked what I did here, go ahead and give this video a like. If you could, to support the channel, share it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Ding the bell to be notified whenever I upload new content. That's it for this video. Thank you again so much for watching. This is Sneed from Steam Mobile Tech, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.